What's going on, everyone? In this video I want to talk about a Windows pre-authentication attack called AS rep roasting. So if you've just got onto an engagement and you need at least a user within that Windows domain, or potentially even more privileged user, this could be a route for you. So AS rep roasting works via kerberos or kerberos tickets. If you don't know what kerberos is, this is sort of how it works on a very basic level. So a user that's authenticated in a Windows domain would send their password to the domain controller to get back a Kerberos ticket. And this is what we're interested in. So when they have that ticket, they can then send that around the Windows environment to connect to different services depending on their privilege. So that ticket is actually hashed with their password NTLM hash. So if we have that ticket, we can crack it using John or Hashcat and get their password potentially. So AS rep roasting is different to kerberos, and this is how. So if I show you my own domain controller here, of course everyone has their own properties within a domain. So my Luke user here has these properties. And an administrator might accidentally, or they might even do it because a service has to have this, they might tick this box called do not require Kerberos pre-authentication. And what this means is it actually allows a domain controller to give out these tickets without a user having to provide their password. And of course this is quite a vulnerability. So how do we go ahead and attack this? How do we get the password? So really all you need for the Windows domain is a list of user accounts or potential user accounts. So one example is if you see something like this where you see LDAP is open and various other services, you might want to use enum for Linux. This is a potential for null shares and things that might give you some users. So in this example I did get that. So I've got users such as Lucinda, Mark, Santi, Sebastian, and these could be put into a users file, which I've already done here. So I've got 4 users because I know which one is going to rep roast and which isn't. Anyway, create your users into a file, and next you want to be using the impacket library. So great tool, in the description if you want to download it. From that library, use getmpusers.py. The output file can be anything you want it to be. I've just called it this. The format, I'm going to put John because I'm going to crack this with John. You can put this with Hashcat if you want. Users file is the users file that we just created there. And then DCIP is going to be the domain controller IP address that we get those Kerberos tickets from. And then just put the domain name there. Debug is there as well, just in case anything goes wrong, so we can see what's gone wrong. So run that. And you'll see that various users don't have this pre-auth checkbox ticked. But if you go into your output file, so we'll just cap that now, you'll see that we have one user that did have the pre-authentication checkbox, and that was service alfresco. So this is the ticket. So we can take this and actually crack this for the password of the service alfresco user. So take that, put it into a file called asrep or whatever you want to call it. And now we can use this with John, like so. So I'm using John, word list, I'm using RockU from Kali. The format is Kerberos AS rep roasting, and the file I just made was AS rep, which has that Kerberos ticket in. So if we run this, John is now going to churn through all of the different passwords within rocku.txt and try and find the password that matches that Kerberos ticket hash. It's going to take a while, so we'll get back to it when it's done. So that's now done. You can see the password was cracked and it's service. So now you can go ahead. You've firstly had no access to a Windows environment, and now through pre-authenticated means, just by using a user list, you've managed to find the Kerberos ticket for service alfresco, and you've just cracked the password, which is service. So you can now use this username and password combination through things like SMB or RDP or any service that you have available, and actually log on to the machines within that Windows environment and then privilege escalate from there. So really, really useful tool. Highly recommend trying this in your engagement if you're a little bit stuck. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Give us a subscribe and a like. Thanks.